Today on the Daily Meditation, all about meditation therapy. Meditation therapy is a rapidly rising form of psychotherapy with promising potential. And as an expert in this emerging field, I'd love to introduce you to it. But first, let me be honest with you. I never really considered the lessons that I give to be meditation therapy. That was until one day one of my clients, John, said that they find our sessions very therapeutic and that it was as much therapy as meditation. That's what made it click for me that the work that I do, that I usually call meditation lessons, that I do on the dailymeditation.com, was really beyond the regular old meditation sessions and more about meditation therapy. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my sessions, and in doing so, you'll see what this rising form of psychotherapy is all about. So, in my meditation sessions, usually we begin with a friendly chat. And it's here, at the very beginning, that the therapy starts. In this chat, it's an opportunity for my clients to discuss with me the problems that they have been facing. If they wish, we sometimes go into great depth in these chats, and oftentimes my clients open up to me and share thoughts and feelings that have been troubling them. Again, I never really intended for that to be therapy. It's something I've always done in my meditation lessons, just a little friendly chat with my clients to get to know them, to hear any kind of struggles that they might have been having, any challenges and their goals. And as I said, I never considered it therapy, but it certainly does have therapeutic effects. The simple act of discussing personal troubles with a teacher who is empathetic and non-judgmentally listening is in itself quite therapeutic, and you can probably recognize that for yourself. Anytime that you get to talk to somebody who is just empathetic and compassionate and is actually listening, that by itself is therapeutic. It doesn't even matter if it's actually with a therapist or not. The mere fact of having somebody who is caring, not judgmental, they're not just trying to fix everything, they're literally just listening to you with open ears. That's very therapeutic. Now, I know from feedback from my sessions that these friendly little chats are a big reason why my clients keep coming back. After our chats, I discuss with them how meditation can help with whatever the problem they might be facing. And I'd like to explain that this goes a heck of a lot deeper than do mindful breathing and you'll relax. I actually teach over 100 forms of meditation, and one of my main objectives when I teach somebody is to help them find the perfect meditation technique for them, which is something that I've discussed recently, both on the dailymeditation.com and on our YouTube channel. This is something that traditional therapists don't realize. Most therapists are really not aware, and in fact I'd say most psychologists are really not aware of quite how many meditation techniques there are. Almost all of them will know the basic meditation techniques, such as mindful breathing and guided visualizations, but next to no therapist or psychologist is aware of more obscure techniques such as Mikaba or Karuna, to give two of many examples. And in fact, most meditators aren't aware of techniques like those. And that's a huge shame, because those methods are highly effective, often more effective than the meditations that we more commonly hear about. And if, again, you're interested in learning about those techniques, then you can learn them on the dailymeditation.com and on our YouTube channel. So that's the first things that I do in any of my meditation sessions. Have a chat with a student and then choose for them the perfect meditation technique. After choosing a meditation, I'll tweak it a bit to make it perfect for my client before I finally do the meditation with them. Add in a final chat about how my client is feeling after the session, and you've got the basic recipe for one of my meditation sessions. And that, to me, is the blueprint for meditation therapy. However, it's certainly up for debate. And the reason why it's up for debate is because, shockingly, the term meditation therapy is not officially recognized. And that is absolutely mind-boggling, and I'd like to explain why. So, what is meditation therapy? What is this amazing new field of healthcare called meditation therapy? Well, that is the weird thing about it, because it actually isn't officially a thing yet. Nope. Take a look online, do a search for meditation therapy, and you will invariably come across guides that basically just discuss meditation in the way that we all know it. Any article online that's about meditation therapy will basically just discuss meditation, in the same way that you always hear about it. And that is bizarre. The reason it's bizarre is because most of the third wave psychotherapies, and these are the biggest emerging psychotherapies in the world, the third wave psychotherapies, are already based on meditation. Those third wave therapies are acceptance and commitment therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, metacognitive therapy, and mindfulness-based interventions. All of those therapies are based almost entirely on Buddhism. However, because their creators, namely Stephen Hayes, Marsha Linehan, Adrian Wells, and Jon Kabat-Zinn, wanted to claim that they had individually created these therapies, they didn't call them Buddhism and meditation. Nope, they gave them new individual names and claimed that they had produced and created these therapies entirely by themselves, even though all of the practices that they use have actually existed for thousands of years. And by the way, that's not just me saying that. If you do a search for third wave therapies and Buddhism, you'll find that a lot of expert sources will tell you the same thing, that all these third wave therapies, like acceptance and commitment therapy and dialectical behavioral therapies, are basically entirely Buddhism. I do want to mention that the one possible exception to that is Jon Kabat-Zinn, because in fairness to him, he has been upfront about the fact that his ideas are based on traditional meditation and Buddhism. And so, as such, Buddhism and meditation are the entire foundations of third wave therapies, and yet there is no officially recognized thing called meditation therapy. And I want to change that. So let me tell you what meditation therapy means to me. It's basically the best of meditation mixed with the best of therapy. So probably the most important question to answer here is, how exactly is meditation therapy different to your regular old meditation lesson? Now, I've attended very many meditation lessons and also gone to therapy. And I've also given both what I would call traditional, typical meditation lessons and meditation therapy. So what on earth is the difference? Well, for me, your regular run-of-the-mill meditation lesson is when the teacher has already chosen a form of meditation to do, when that choice has been made more on the desire to explore meditation itself rather than to heal any sort of mental health condition, and when the meditation session follows, the traditions and the conventions precisely rather than being customized to the individual's needs. Now, I want to say there is nothing inherently wrong with that, and if you're just interested in learning about meditation, then that's a perfect way to do it. But we do need to distinguish that from meditation therapy. What sets meditation therapy apart is that it's very much done on an individual level for the purpose of healing the client of a specific condition. And as I mentioned earlier, that is something that I specialize in. This is very much about a human connection with the student and the desire and the skill to customize the session to the student's individual needs. As I mentioned earlier, this begins with a chat in which we really need to approach with compassion and understanding so that we can create a relationship with the student in which the student feels comfortable opening up to us and sharing their problems. And that's the first way in which meditation therapy really differs from a meditation lesson, because in order to do that, you really need exceptional communication skills, just like in regular therapy. And this is actually something that I've discussed in my meditation teacher training course. Then, when it comes to the actual meditation practice, this must be done in a far more personal way than your typical meditation lesson, with words and tone of voice being used in such a way that it encourages the client to experience inner peace. So, to put it in too small a nutshell, the difference with meditation therapy is that meditation therapy should be a personal thing, finely tuned to the individual student. This is not simply leading a meditation, and it's not simply talking to someone as in regular psychotherapy. Rather, it's the best of both. So, what exactly is the meditation therapy technique? Well, the basic technique of meditation therapy is to discuss problems with the client, identify key areas to target with meditation, choose the best meditation technique for the client, and then lead them through it. And I'd like to mention that although I use very many different meditation techniques, there are a few specific forms of meditation that I have found to be especially effective in therapeutic settings. They are somatic meditation. So somatic meditation is perhaps not as popular as some of the bigger meditation techniques like loving kindness, body scan, and vipassana. However, it is wonderfully therapeutic. It's a method in which we allow the body to control the mind, and this can be fabulous for releasing repressed emotions. Indeed, it is one of my personal favorite meditations for emotional healing. Another fabulous form of meditation for therapy is compassion-based methods. Much of the work that we do in meditation therapy focuses on healing emotional wounds. Many of those emotional wounds were caused through a lack of compassion, such as in childhood emotional neglect. And so it is no surprise that compassion-based meditations make for wonderful therapy. Some really good options here include Metta, which is loving kindness, Karuna, and Tonglen. Next, body scan. I mentioned Jon Kabat-Zinn earlier and how he is one of the very few psychologists who have actually credited the inspiration of their techniques to Buddhist meditation. He has also given us one of the most effective meditations in therapeutic settings, that being body scan. Finally, Vipassana. Vipassana has pretty much become the holy grail of meditation techniques. It's probably the single most used method in the third wave therapies like ACT and DBT. Indeed, it is pretty much the heart and soul of ACT, which teaches us to mindfully accept and diffuse from our thoughts and feelings, often by labeling them, which is precisely what we do in Vipassana. So to illustrate everything that I've discussed in this episode, I'd like to share a few stories from clients that I've worked with. In the interest of protecting their privacy, I've changed their names and certain details of their stories. Firstly, Jane. Jane came to me having heard that meditation could help with her OCD. Specifically, her mind would demand that she flip switches constantly. She'd gone to therapy previously, but it had been unsuccessful, and she'd heard that meditation could help. Now, whenever I work with someone who has tried other therapies, I immediately know that I will want to help them to accept their previously unsuccessful attempts. For this reason, a large part of my sessions with Jane was spent in gentle conversations to help her release her frustrations. we ended up working mostly with a form of Vipassana that also used Dr. Schwartz's 4R methods, which is a popular treatment for OCD. But the main point that I want to make here is that without the original discussion and without having listened and helped her to accept the disappointing results of her former therapies, it would have been incredibly difficult for Jane to have gotten into meditation in the first place. And again, that's where meditation therapy is separate from meditation lessons. If you go to a meditation lesson like your typical lesson at a yoga studio, the teacher's going to assume that you want to learn meditation and they're just going to teach you meditation. But meditation therapy, on the other hand, really takes the student from wherever they may currently be and heals them, progressively through listening and through the application of different meditation techniques. So it's about not assuming that your student wants to immediately meditate, but rather listening to where they are and using words to guide them to where they want to go. And Dom. So Dominic, came to me because his wife, Vanessa, had recommended he take meditation lessons to help him deal with anger issues that he had for a very understandable reason that I can't share it, but it was very understandable why Dom had these anger issues based on past events in his life. Now, Vanessa was very enthusiastic about meditation. However, Dom most certainly was not. It was obvious how reluctant Dom was to meditate. And had I approached his meditation in the typical meditation teacher way, he would have scoffed and told me to piss off. Instead, I had a very down-to-earth discussion with Dom about his life. During this chat, I didn't use the word meditation at all. Instead, I decided to take an interest in where he was. I asked questions about the view outside his window, about what his new leather chair felt like, and little things like that made him more mindful of his surroundings without me actually ever using the words mindfulness or meditation. Now, Dom did eventually catch on, and he asked me what I was doing, so I explained that I'd snuck a mindfulness exercise into our chat by asking him those few questions of what can you see outside the window, how does that leather chair feel, and things like that. I had made him be mindful without actually using the word mindfulness. I asked him how he felt, and he said more relaxed. From there, it was possible for us to get further into meditation exercises, but I made sure I spoke in very real ways, not using any of the poetic language many meditation teachers use, because I knew that, frankly, that would piss him off. Again, it was my ability to listen, to understand, and to adapt meditation to my clients' needs that led to success. And that, again, is what meditation therapy is all about. About listening, about understanding, about taking the core principles of meditation and adapting them to what the student actually needs. That, for me, is what separates meditation therapy from your regular old meditation lesson. My final thoughts. Although the term meditation therapy is not officially recognized, most of the third wave therapies are massively influenced by traditional meditation. And given the considerable proven benefits of meditation, it is easy to see why. Mindfulness-based practices are the future of mental health, and the two fields, therapy and meditation, are becoming ever more closely connected. That said, I personally feel that most therapists and most meditation teachers can go a lot further in their practices. Therapists could certainly benefit from learning about the vast number of different meditation techniques instead of just knowing about mindful breathing and body scan. And meditation teachers would gain by understanding more about therapy, more about how therapists talk to their clients, and really by understanding the communication skills that therapists use to get clients to open up. As for everyone else, well, the combination of meditation and therapy can really only be a good thing. It takes two of the absolute best practices for mental health and combines them better into something new and far more effective. And if you would like to experience that, why not book a meditation session with me today on thedailymeditation.com. Thank you for listening. I invite you to like this episode and to subscribe. I appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you next time.